I'm just spending the early morning going through my seed tins again, as we do. This tin just has my herbs and flowers. This lovely box that my friend made me has most of my vegetable seeds in it. But then the bigger, larger seeds, which is my beans and my peas, are in here. And I wanted to go through the beans I'm growing this year. I am crazy about growing beans, and it's getting worse each year. I mean, I adore, mad crazy about growing them. I'm not 100% sure why, but I'm not going to argue. I love growing them. I think it's the tactile. You know, at every stage you can eat a bean. You can have bean sprouts. You can grow them to the lovely, tender, sweet, full pod. You can grow them demi-sec, where they're now, the bean inside is larger. It's one of my preferred harvest times. And then I freeze them, so they're still green, but large pods. And then ultimately you go till they dry, which many of my seeds are purchased for that reason. It's not necessarily, I do have a few that I eat for the green bean itself, but many for drying or demi-sec. So I'm going to go through them. Beans are so easy to grow. Another reason why I love it, they like warm soil, so I won't be planting these till 2 weeks after my last frost date. You stick them an inch down, and then that's about it. They will come up. When you're growing bush beans, which is what I mostly grow, you can succession plant them easily. You know, every 2 weeks put some out. If you eat them at the green pod stage, because you'll just have way too many bush beans come all at once. Or if you're drying them like me, it doesn't matter. I just plant them all at once, and then I stick some around all over the place. Pole beans I don't plant a whole lot of. I only have one that I'll be planting this year, strictly for the beauty of it. I'm probably the only gardener who they don't grow well for. I don't understand. I find that they're awful. They don't taste good, and I don't get any. So it's my season or my climate, I guess. They just don't work because they work for everyone else. Anyways, let's get into what I've got. Let me get them out. I got little bits of all kinds. Okay, and the rest of these are peas. So, I purchased a lot from Heritage Seed. I think there's something great about keeping an heirloom seed going. You know, they're just, again, it adds to the pleasure of growing, knowing that you've got some rare seeds that you're helping to keep alive. Actually, two of the they're called extremely rare, is early Mohawk bean. That was the Iroquois bean that later white men took over. They were in the magazines in the late 1800s, and as a very popular, tasty bean. These are grown for me to be, can you see how pretty they are? A dried bean. They're edible as a green bean also, but really I'm shooting for the lovely dry bean. Another extremely rare one is the Chevrier Vert, and I should note this one can be a bit irritating because when you go into heirloom, they're beautiful bean too. But these are eaten mostly for the green bean itself, and they're lovely, but they do have strings. That's why a lot of times any of the common beans that you buy now at the regular run-of-the-mill ones, they're all stringless. This is not stringless, and a little irritating. I mean, you have to take the strings off, but keeping another extremely rare, it's listed as being alive, and they are beautiful. They were developed by a man named Chevalier. That was early 1878, something like that, and in Paris. And then they were cultivated out, but again, extremely rare. Another favorite, top of my list probably, is Drew's Dandy for a dried bean. It's a nice flat, gotta go through. It's a nice big flat white bean, beautiful for cooking. And it's called Drew's Dandy, and my son's name is Drew. But I love this bean, and I actually have to go through my dried stored beans that I use for eating to make sure I have enough in here. I do that every year too. Another one I'm growing, not so rare, but another heirloom, is the Polish pea. It's quite common. A pea bean is really, AKA a navy bean. These though are much smaller than what I consider a navy bean. But they're a lovely, tasty cooking bean. Really, really good. Then I've got two new varieties this year. So I've got the real black turtle beans, not to be confused with other black beans. This is you know, the meaty bean used often in Mexican cooking and things like that. So I'm excited to grow the black turtle bean. Then I've got the red swan bush. It's supposed to be a true red bean when it grows. Not purple, but red. So I think that's just cool, with pretty little pink flowers and all. So I'm excited to grow that. And that's a bean from the gentleman, Robert, may come to me. He's the gentleman who coined the phrase, beans are a poor man's jewel. And that's so true for me. So true. Robert Lobitz, maybe his name is. These were a variety he cultivated. He was known as a renowned bean man. So I'm very excited to grow those for the first time. Then I have your typical yellow bean, golden wax bean. These are really tasty, really stringless, beautiful. They look, oddly enough, like your, they have like a soldier bean type of look. But, you know, anywhere, but they really have been cultivated so well now that they're just beautiful. By the way, yellow wax bean is called that because they've been cultivated to no longer have the chlorophyll, so they're yellow. And wax doesn't mean the texture is waxy. It means they look like beeswax. Did you know? And then I've got a good old stringless green pod garden bean. And they're lovely too. So these two varieties I pick for eating. So I don't plant, oops. I probably plant just a row of each. No, I probably plant 2 rows of each. This year I'm planting more. I just can't get enough. I ran out of my frozen beans, I'd say a month ago. And because, you know, when you make a bean stew or, a Greek bean stew or an Italian bean stew or French stew, you use a lot of beans up. So even though I thought I had tons, I didn't. And I've already been through these, so it was filled to the rim. And I've just been, you know, take some out, let them soften in water overnight, and just throw them in soups. But I've got to go through and get what I can there. Oh, this is Lewis bean. This is, it's a coated one, but obviously it's not a pink bean, that bright pink. This is a beautiful green bean also, really, really nice green bean. I got that one from Vessie's, and I don't have many left of those, although there could be in there, but I don't know which one it is. They grow really well in my climate. All of these do. I don't have trouble with any of these. And a very tasty green pod again. What have I got here? Oh, this is, I didn't grow these last year. I just didn't bother. I didn't have space, I don't think. This is the Toya soya bean. Can you see how tiny little round balls? Grew them, edamame. I grew them 2 years ago, and the year before that. The year before that, they were fantastic and a real treat. Not the most productive, so I didn't want to waste garden space last year, because the next year that I grew these, the mice or whatever singled those out and just ate them before they were really even coming up, which was really irritating, so I didn't bother last year. But they're a special treat to have your edamame. So I probably will stick those in. Then the plain old yellow-eyed bean, good old baking bean. And this is the black-eyed, but this is the yellow-eyed, which is the preferred favorite, I think in New England possibly, for the baked beans and lovely baked bean dishes. I've got lots of those, and they grow so prolific and beautiful here. Oh, I got a few of the Royal Burgundy beans, and I have to get more of them out of my jar. You can see the bean itself is burgundy. I'll get those out because I'm almost out of this one. I grow those every year just for the sheer. They look beautiful. They taste beautiful. Again, I'm eating those for the full bean pod itself. And though they're beautiful bright purple or dark purple, they actually go full green when you cook them. No ideas. Some no idea beans. I'll stick those somewhere. And finally, the only pole bean that I'm growing is, for the sheer beauty of it, is the Scarlet Runner bean. I'll get the flowers and they'll be beautiful. I just don't seem to get the beans. The difference between a bush bean and a runner bean, as I'm sure you're well aware of, being the bush, they come all at once and loaded. I mean, I have loads and loads and loads. They say it goes over 3 weeks. I think it's a lot longer for me, especially with the drying. Whereas, of course, your pole beans are supposed to be much more of a harvest you can get from them, because they continue and continue and continue to grow through till the season kills them off, you know, till the cold comes. They're a beautiful bean. Broken one there. Absolutely gorgeous. I've got 2 broken ones. But I'll get the flowers and they'll be beautiful, and the bees, and everybody will love those, and the pure aesthetics of it. And hopefully, maybe this will be the year. Our summers are getting warmer and warmer, so maybe this will be the year I'll do really well with those. So those are my bean picks, bush beans mostly. And one mention too, because I got this out. These are my broad beans. I'm not planting all of those by any means, but I'll probably use half the jar, and the rest I'll eat. They go in the ground 2 weeks before my last frost date. So the hardy broad beans, really rely on those. Still have some in my freezer. Really, really rely on those for special uses, actually. They make a fantastic dip because they go well with citrus. It for me makes the flavor, because they have a very robust, strong flavor actually, but when you add citrus, lemon or lime, is divine. It's really beautiful. And then there's specific stews, Greek stews with those too, which is beautiful. So that's my beans. Do you love growing beans as much as I do? Or am I kind of crazy? The crazy lady up the hill who's obsessed with growing bush beans. Anyway, take care. Hope all your seedlings are doing well, and we'll talk soon.